with Coach Heck and the infamous Coach Patrick King. You're stuck with me, man.
I'm stuck.
You are stuck with me. I ain't going anywhere.
There's a lot of people that are jealous of me for sitting here, and there's some people that there's a little sympathy going on at the same time.
There's more people that are sympathetic to you. I'm just saying that much right now. How long did you guard Larry Bird?
For about 4 or 5 minutes, the rest of the half.
How did he do? How'd you do against him?
Between myself and my roommate, Don McLaughlin, we held him to 48 that afternoon.
As I'm going crazy, the ref teased me once, he teased me twice, and I said, hey, make it Lionel Richie. Give me 3 times a lady. And he teased me 3 times. I get tossed, right? I get tossed as I'm walking out of the gym towards Gene Katie in the corner. I turn to Joe Navline and I holler, bring him home, shooter. Gene Katie. Gene Katie he fell out of the chair laughing.
Just remember what Ron Hecklinski said today. Man, you ain't that good. The scouting report said you were pretty good. You ain't that good. Oh, man. Are you kidding me? Hey, welcome to show number 2 from Dorman's Old Town Tap in lovely South Bend, Indiana.
We're here.
We are here. We're fixing to shoot another show, talk some sports. I can't tell you, the Black Sedan Band out of Birmingham, Alabama. And if anybody does have any or want any information, we do have their information. But they are a great band, and they travel. And their music, their music's phenomenal. My brother's a drummer, and they're busy. They play a lot, but they are one of our sponsors. So if anybody wants to hear some great music, turn in on YouTube. Get their greatest hits, the Black Sedan Band. We have another great show for you, brought to you by Hahn Funeral Home. The loss of a loved one can leave you with lots of unanswered questions and stress. The people at Hahn Funeral Home are so cool. They're very, very sympathetic. They're wonderful people. They're located at 505 West A Street in downtown Mishawaka. When a situation happens in your family and it's devastating, stop in and see Pat Hahn and all of his folks there, and they will walk you through the process step by step, and they will make it as easy as possible on you. 574-255-1474. Tony Letcher, our title sponsor. Are you kidding me? Health Markets with Tony Letcher. I'm just telling you, whether you need help with your health insurance or Medicare, it's time you get the right coverage for the right price. Call Tony today at 574-307-8882 or visit his website at tletcher.com. And I'm telling you, I'm still working now, so I'm using my health insurance at Mishawaka Community Schools. But when the day comes that I'm out of there, I'm gone day, I'm here today, gone to Muncie, my first call is going to be to Tony Letcher and say, Tony, set me up, because I know, as well as you know, all of the secondary markets and all of the other things that you have to have on Medicare, right?
Oh, exactly. I have primary, which is my Medicare, and then I have, some of the others are through my wife's, the school corporation, since she's still working, have secondary. So dental, medical, whatever it might be, eyes for your glasses, you turn it into 2 different insurances, and you don't have to pay very much.
Yeah, no, I think and Tony will walk you through step by step, man. I had kind of an initial interview with him on it, and how he explained it to me. He just really simplified it. So Tony Letcher at Health Markets Magic Mind, man, I'm just telling you, state of flow, Magic Mind, for focus, for energy, for less stress. Magic Mind is awesome. MagicMind.com. If you want to order any, Coach's Corner 20, and you'll get a 20% discount. I've been taking it now maybe for 2 months, 3 months, and my focus, my ability to recall anything, and I ain't lying, man. I mean, if I was going to lie about something, it wouldn't be your mind. I mean, we need I mean, we take vitamins for our heart.
Sure.
Take vitamins for our kidneys, our livers. We take pills for our immune systems. Why not take something for your brain? Enhance your brain.
I totally agree. And you keep picking on me about taking those. I just haven't yet. I'm still working on all the other things I've had to deal with.
Well, you're taking vodka, right?
Vodka, yeah.
Yeah, you're taking vodka.
I'm still on the vodka and the Budweisers.
But Magic Mind is really, really good. Frick's Driving School, they've been a sponsor in the past, and we're hoping like heck that we can continue that sponsorship. I know that you're going to have a meeting or two with them coming up here, and hopefully we can get that little car rolling because the road game of the week, and we do have a road game of the week this week.
Game of the week, yeah. Where is our little car? Let's see here. I'm doing the
you're working the board. You're doing it all.
I'm doing the board right now. So this is, if you see something that doesn't look quite right, it's my fault.
And if we're not on, if we're just talking to ourselves, to be talking to ourselves, that could be.
Well, we've already had a couple comments here, so I think we're on the air here.
Cool.
We've got somebody that says hello and enjoyed the video, so evidently we're off to a good start here. You know, we've had 1 week of high school football. We're sitting in here at Dorbin's for the second week. Steve's here tonight. They have karaoke starting at 7 o'clock, so people are coming in here for that. And the start of the U.S. Tennis Open is on from Flushing Meadows, so it's time for tennis, along with the start of college football coming up.
Oh man, we're gonna have Darren Pritchett on at 7:30. Darren is everything Notre Dame. He'll give us a scoop. We're gonna have the great coach Keith Kinder on at 7. He's just done a magnificent job of coaching the Mishawaka Cavemen. They're coming off of a win last Friday night, the Princess City Rose Bowl when they played Mishawaka Marion last week, and they beat Mishawaka Marion pretty good.
They've got 2 dynamite non-conference games, don't they? Right?
No.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
That's the only way you get better right now is you just play some good teams.
Yeah, they have Penn, and they got Penn coming up at home on Friday night on the brand new AstroTurf at Steel Stadium.
And here we are showing our age, calling it AstroTurf.
Yeah, isn't that what it's called?
I don't think it's called AstroTurf anymore.
Is it? I mean, it's just called turf.
Yeah, it's got some fancy name to it.
Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment in the chat, man. Let us know you're watching. You got a question? Leave a comment. You know me and Pat. Pat and I will try and answer that question. Even if we don't know it, we will BS our way through it and act like we know it.
We'll have an answer.
We'll find an answer.
We'll have an answer. And we had good crowds last week. We had good numbers on both YouTube and whether it was live, and you can also watch us during the week too. You can go back and watch last week's episode.
Yeah, broadcastsport.net,
yeah,
YouTube.
You can watch it on YouTube as well. So we had good numbers right off the bat, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, so thumbs up on the video, and give us a chat, man. Give us a question. So listen, high school football. I know you got some high school football stuff ready to go.
Stuff over here. We're running solo right now. My son Scott is working right now.
Yeah.
And today, where'd he go? He went
to Walmart to go shopping. Remember? Yeah.
He's supposed to land here pretty shortly.
Yeah.
I think his flight from Phoenix to Dallas was delayed today, so he should be in Dallas, and he's probably going to find us on the phone and go from there. So wait a minute, I think I found this. Hang on, see if what.
There's the car.
Well, we got that taken care of. Well, we've got 20 minutes before we have our first guest. We want to jump right into high school.
Yes. Start off on some of those area games because I know you worked a game.
I did. Matter of fact, we'll just talk about that one to start with. I think I was over at New Prairie last week and saw New Prairie and LaPorte. And that was supposed to be a good rematch from last year. I understand. And what the game? It was a great.
I gotta smack him for you, man.
It was a great. It was a great crowd. We had some issues where we were audio only.
Broadcastsport.net, man.
Broadcastsport.net. Our audience was good. Kenny Peterson does a great job of the play-by-play. And he's a homer.
He's the mayor of New Carlisle. Are you kidding me?
The imaginary mayor of New Carlisle.
In his own mind.
And exactly. And And the people enjoy hearing him, and for some reason they were excited to have me back for a third season. So I went with it because I'm used when I used to go to New Prairie for 15 years. I was really never very welcome. People were yelling.
You're the head coach of the South Bend Adams Eagles, man. Come on, you were beating the hell out of them for 15 straight years.
They didn't like me, but so now I guess I'm harmless because I'm just
because you're not coaching
football.
anymore.
I guess not.
And you're not beating the heck out of
You
them.
know what?
You're just talking about the game because you have a great football background.
New Prairie looked really good, and the football background I had showed me LaPorte's going to struggle. LaPorte is not ready yet.
No, they ain't ready. They need to bring back the great Bobby Schellinger, man.
They've got a lot of work.
I mean, Bobby
ahead.
retired,
Yeah.
and they went through a coach, and maybe for a year or two, then he got out. Then they hired another coach, and they've struggled. Bob Schellinger was the head coach,
for
head
a
football
long
coach
time.
for a long time, and Bob and I went to high school together.
Now we had a lot of. There were some interesting things that went on this week that didn't have anything to do with Marion or Penn or anything like that. The game I was at, New Prairie scored 30. It was 33-14, and it wasn't that close. LaPorte scored on the opening kickoff, 85 yards for a touchdown, and that was the only thing. They had one first down the whole first half. And then the other way that they scored was New Prairie snapped the ball over the punter's head, and it went in the end zone. They recovered it. That was their 2 touchdowns. That was the only way LaPorte scored. I think they had 4 or 5 first downs the entire game.
Yeah, what a boring game, man. I mean, it's okay if that's the team you're rooting for, but I like good football. And Concord and Elkhart was pretty good football, I think.
That was a good football game. Now, the one that I didn't see the game, and we need to get hold of John Overmeyer and find out some details on this because he was there, was the Riley game. Riley set a new national record. Riley's game, they had 4 safeties in the game.
What does that tell you?
4 safeties.
What is that? They were playing the JV team in Hammond, right?
Four 2-run homers.
Come on, man. Come on, Johnny Be Good. Hey, Johnny Be Good, why don't you get on here with us tonight and tell us how that happened?
So that's how that dealt. So it'd be interesting to see how some of the information on that. But
Did you guys meet at
no, because
Wings?
My game didn't start till 8. So I did not get out of New Prairie till after 11 o'clock our time. And New Prairie, there's only one way in that place. So then there's only one way out.
Sure.
And it was a huge crowd. So we were ready to leave. We had everything packed up, ready to go. And there were still people back in the tailgate area waiting to get out. They couldn't get out. We weren't the last ones out. So it was a long night for those people. Let me run down through some stuff. You can make comments. Concord, I think the Concord Elkhart game 13-12.
Yeah, no, extra points.
Elkhart's supposed to be really good this year, and obviously Concord is as well. Fairfield beat up on Goshen 55-17.
No. So the great Joey Heck, great quarterback at South Bend St. Joe, was an assistant coach at Ball State for, 4 or 5 years on the offensive side of the ball. He takes the Goshen job, and obviously the job is not a great job at this point in time, but he's got a lot of 7th, 8th, and 9th graders that he will build and work with. And he pretty much knew that unless it was a certain game that the score might get out of hand. But I guarantee you this much: Joey Heck will have those kids playing hard. They'll be playing assignment football, and they may be outmanned, but it won't be because they won't be well coached.
Well, and they're going to jump right back into the fire.
New Prairie, man.
They've got New Prairie coming to town this week.
So they got New Prairie at Goshen, right?
Yes, at Goshen. So Fort Wayne Northside, that was a kind of a surprise, I thought. Fort Wayne Northside beat Northridge 32-20. You mentioned Mishawaka. Mishawaka was behind, I believe, at halftime, weren't they?
Yeah, we're gonna talk to Coach Kinder about that. They were behind 17-7.
Yeah, 40, and they beat them up 41-24. Northwood and Jimtown. I think somebody said that might be the last time those two are going to play for a little bit, unless I've got that wrong. 34-12.
Hey, stop. You ain't never got anything wrong. And here's the deal: lie till you die. If you get something wrong, never admit that stuff.
You've been listening to
Never.
Dockage. I think you got that from Dockage.
No, he got it from me.
Is that it?
He got it from me.
Plymouth. We were talking.
I saw Plymouth. Plymouth won.
Plymouth beat Twin Lakes 53-20. They put up some points, and poor Wawasee, they're just not ready yet. Tippy Valley beat up on them 44-zip. So that was a tough. That's your Northern Lakes.
Give me some NIC action, man.
Culver Military Academy beat up on Adams 36-14. Hammond Central beat South Bend Washington 28-24.
That kind of surprised me. South Bend Washington may have some personnel. I know their coach. It's not Stamich anymore, is it?
No, there's back to Jay.
Yes, yes.
And he was former Notre Dame player. Lakeland surprised.
St. Joe 21-20, man.
St. Joe Joey's got beat 21-20.
So no, hey, before you go any further,
okay. Tell me about your guys last week.
I will tell you about my guys. If anybody's on Facebook, go to my Facebook page and you will see Friday happy hour at the Howard Park place. Really nice place, by the way. 10 former St. Joe Indians, once an Indian, always an Indian. We got together and had just a ball. I put a picture of us there, me, Brian Canfield, Mike Ledusky, Steve Friel, the great Jimmy Goddach, Dennis Jordan played on my team, was just a tough-ass little guard. Coach Larry Radecki was there. Larry Davis and Brian Canfield played on that great Tom Abernathy team with Dave Kuzmits and Willis Holmes that won the sectional.
Wow, that's a good group.
Dave Kuzmits was there. Dave flew in from Boston, and Dave is battling some health problems, but man, is he Dave Kuzmits is a tough son of a gun, man. All the stuff that he's going through. And we had a ball talking about ball and talking about the great Coach Donowall. We had a ball talking about how
good old days,
how
right?
we got our ass beat in practice, and once we got to the games were easy.
Oh, yeah, that's all we talked
The
about.
games were easy. We talked about one scenario, and this is a true story, folks. If you remember the great old St. Joe gym, the rafters, I mean, they were high, but it's not like they were 7 stories high. So Donowall gets pissed off in practice one day, and he flips his keys up in the air, and they land on a rafter.
Oh, no.
Well, our assistant coach is a guy named Larry Radecki. Played at Butler, played for Coach Donowall, and there just happened, and this was preseason practice, there just happened to be a scaffolding set up at one corner of the gym. So Coach D says, Radecki, get the scaffold and get up there and get my keys.
Oh, dear.
We're sitting, our team is just standing there. Radecki is shaking as he's going up that scaffold.
No kidding.
And that is pretty high, though. And we're just, go, Radecki, go. And he did get the keys. He turned 9 shades of white. But dang, did we have a good time. And here's what we decided. Once an Indian, always an Indian. You can take the Husky. I mean, I guess it's good for the new kids now. Who let the dogs out? Who? I mean, maybe they're going to go with that chant. I don't know, PK.
I don't know.
But we're always Indians. But St. Joe takes one on the chin, 21-20, right?
49-42 Penn. Valpo's going to be good. And I think Penn surprised some people because I think people really thought Valpo would have a shot at him. But somebody named Watson decided he was going to find him a new quarterback.
Well, we're going to talk to Coach Kinder about the Watson kid and his dad, Ryan Watson, longtime head basketball coach
coach before you
at Mishawaka. When he resigned to take the assistant athletic director position, then I took his job. He stayed as the assistant athletic director for a couple years and is now working in finances at Edward Jones, and just doing a great job. We're going to talk about how in the world Mishawaka Hall of Fame great Ryan Watson, how his kids are suiting up at Penn. And I don't know. Maybe Coach Kinder's got that answer. I don't know.
I think that's a family thing.
But I know one thing. Kellen Watson was responsible for 5 or 6 TDs. I mean, 3 rushing and maybe 3 through the air. So
like that. I know.
We'll talk about the Kingsmen, man.
I know it. Statewide, last week I was talking about the big boys. In the coaches poll, it's interesting that number 1, Ben Davis, and number 2, Center Grove, both got beat last week on opening night.
Who beat them?
So Cathedral beat up on Ben Davis 24-6. And I think I read where that is the first time Cathedral has beaten Ben Davis since 1987.
So it's the first time the Cathedral's beaten Ben Davis
in 40
the last time
Was when Moby Dick,
was a minnow,
okay,
or
the Dead Sea,
was only sick.
just checking.
All right, cool.
All right.
You are doing really good
I'm
with that
saying,
kind of
how
stuff.
am I doing?
No, I mean your humor. Like when we first got on here, you were like really kind of stiff, and
Well,
your shit is really good now. I'm just saying.
the sarcasm is starting to seep
I'm
in.
just saying, man.
Center Grove.
My stupidity is rubbing off on you.
I think so. It must be contagious. Westfield is good. Westfield's was number 2 Center Grove, number 6 Westfield. Westfield beat them 34-28. So that was a close game. Brownsburg beat Fort Wayne Dwenger. They play Cathedral this week. Warren Central beat Fort Wayne Snyder. Warren Central plays Warsaw this week. Warsaw is going to Indianapolis to
Yeah.
see how the Indianapolis guys play.
Yeah, Bart Curtis, the former Mishawaka coach, he may get a lesson, and I'll be really interested to see that score, because if that score is anywhere close, then Warsaw's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. Here's one, Crown Point over in the region. Crown Point was in the state finals last year. They play a team from Arizona this week. Team from Arizona is coming in. Arizona College Prep Friday night, and they're one of these national prep teams.
Dang.
So you've got what you're finding out. We talked about this last year. Was at the 6A level, it's not helping. I mean, because we were talking about Penn getting out of the conference because all the conference changes going on. We said, Penn needs to get out of the neighborhood and go play some people. And here's an example of people doing that. Warsaw's going to Indianapolis to play. Fort Wayne Homestead got out of the neighborhood. They played they played Carmel last week.
Yeah, those are great games. And Penn used to play Ben Davis early in the season, and I don't know if they still do, but they played Ben Davis. They played Cincinnati Moeller for a while, and those are just great games. But in the sport of football, here's what I'm going to tell you: if you're going to play those kind of games, you better have some depth, because there's a lot of injuries that can occur. And then you're playing the season now with your second or third string offensive line, and those kids got nicked up at Ben Davis. Those kids got nicked up in the Duneland Conference. So if you're going to play that type of schedule, then you better have some depth. Now the year that my team was really good, 1996 at Anderson, we played in a tournament at DePaul University called Hoops and the Loops. We played St. Joseph's High School, coached by the great who?
At St. Joseph's?
Yeah.
The college St. Joseph's?
No.
Like Pennsylvania?
No, St. Joseph's of Chicago.
Oh.
Coached by the great. Now here's so. Doggone it.
I can't help you with that.
Doggone it.
I can't help you with that.
Doggone it. Magic Mind. Gene Pingatore.
I would have never come up with
Isaiah Thomas's coach, Gene Pingatore.
I never would have come up with that.
We went there and we played them. We obviously played DeMatha in
D.C.
In D.C. in the Oregon Donation Tournament. And we played Carmel that year. Now, but here's the deal. So we win our sectional, and then we're playing Pike. They're ranked number 1. We're ranked number 2. Alan Darner's the coach at Pike. So I don't know. I mean, so did that really get us ready to play Pike? I don't know about that, because we played Pike great. We just missed 8 free throws.
Okay.
Whoever was going to win that Pike Anderson game was going to win the state. And
There's our next guest coming in.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what. It's a great Robbie Berger walks in. We may have to give him a mic here shortly.
Microphone if you need it.
He's got his wonderful woman with him too, man. But so I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that schedule helped us against Pike, and I don't know that it hurt us against Pike. We just missed 8 free throws, and so. I mean, we could have played Lapel 19 times.
Right.
If we missed 6 free throws, we win the game.
Well, and I've seen some schools do that. It's in the basketball. Last year we talked about it. South Bend Riley's football. Their schedule, they played all the smaller schools in the conference. Did it get them ready for the tournament? Well, the answer probably was no, considering they lost to the last place team in the NLC.
Okay, but here's the question of that. was anything going to get them ready to play in the tournament or playing in that weak schedule in the NIC?
Right.
That just made them feel good.
Sure.
That gave them confidence. Were they really that good to be a 8-2 team or a 7-3 team? I don't know.
I don't know.
But they had a magical run, didn't they?
They did.
Magical
And
season.
They're still talking about it.
And they were probably good enough to win that first sectional game, but I'm not sure if they were ever going to win the sectional.
Now, here's the thing that kind of made the changes for them this year. Their good running back graduated, and their quarterback, his dad just got the coaching job, I believe, at Lowell over in the region, and he went with him. So they've got a new quarterback.
So there you go. I mean, it's you're one transfer away from either being a good team, someone moving in, or you lose your good player, and you're a transfer away from not being very good.
Exactly.
But I mean, and I still can't. I tend to lean on the side that playing a good schedule and playing a tough schedule does prepare you better.
Well, and I will.
But I'm not sure if it did in that regional game.
And I don't know either. And, that was one of the things when I was at South Bend Adams, we're getting into personal stuff, that was one of the things I always did. I was really never concerned about my record, and that's why my record's the way it is right now. I'm a 500 coach.
That ain't why.
Because
you guys couldn't guard anybody, for God's sakes. I'm just kidding you. You were a great coach.
So we play. We would go in our non-conference games. We'd go to Fort Wayne and play. We went down to Marion. We went to the Wigwam and played. We played Carmel.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things we told the kids. Let's go play some good play. We went down and played Indianapolis Arlington. Now, who would ever think that would be a big deal? But Larry Nix was the coach, and he had a guy named Delco Rowley. Who went to
good
Michigan
player.
State.
I remember him.
Oh, yeah. They beat the hell out
Well,
of us.
and I mean, to answer this question, I mean, we have a coach that just walked in here that could answer this question as well as anybody, because his Marion Knights team played as tough of an early season schedule as anybody, and they might. I mean, I don't know what they were. Maybe they were 500, 4-4, or maybe they were 3-5 or whatever early. But then as their team got better, and I don't know. I mean, Rob, grab this mic. Answer this question for me.
He had a come to Jesus meeting with him.
I mean, grab this mic, man. Is this mic on?
Yeah, just flip the little switch on it. You didn't know you were going to get put to work. There's even headphones for you, too, if you want them.
So go ahead. Okay, so go ahead and answer this question. Your first maybe 8 to 10 games at Marion last year, your schedule was brutal. So what was your record during that time period?
We were started off 4-8.
Yeah.
Just
Your
got
first
beat
12
at
games.
Blackhawk. It was our 8th loss.
Yeah. And then are you of the belief, though, that in playing that tough a schedule, those guys listen to you a hell of a lot more in practice now, because now they're 4-8. They ain't never been 4-8. Now they're listening to you. They're getting better. Now you run off 14 or 15 at the end, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, we've kind of always tried to do that. I mean, if you look at our schedule this year, we're playing Christmas Addicts this year. We're playing Jeffersonville's coming up this year. We're playing them. We got at Lake Central. I mean, and we're a 3A school, and I always think that always makes us play better in the sectional, I think. But our sectional's tough with St. Joe, Washington. CMA now. Glenn's back with us, so you almost have to, I think, play a schedule like that.
Yeah, no, and so I was talking about like my tenure at Anderson, the year we were really, really good with Eric Bush's senior year and stuff. We play St. Joseph's of Westchester, Illinois. We play DeMatha. We have a great schedule in Indianapolis. And then we play Pike in the regional championship game, a sellout at the Wigwam. Whoever wins that game's winning the state. So we miss 8 free throws, uncharacteristically, because we shot them well. If we miss 6, we win. So I don't know. I mean, 6 a dozen, half. I mean, 6 and a half a dozen.
I don't think your schedule had anything to do with missing some free throws.
No, I agree. I agree.
But wanted to win the state. Was that
yes,
the one that beat
yeah. Whoever won that game was winning the state. We were both that good. So in retrospect, should we have played Lapel 9 times and gave it to Jimmy Jack Howe 9 times, or should we have beefed it up I still think beefing it up is still the way to go.
And I think your kids want to, don't they? I mean, if they're
Exactly.
don't they want to play
Exactly.
teams like that?
No, 100%. 100%. All right, you got anything for the great coach here?
No.
You got nothing for the great coach?
He wants to go eat dinner with his wife, his lady
No, we
friend.
were just over at Bowler's Country Club. They had a progressive drawing. It's up to $84,000.
Seriously.
Long story short, we're here, so we obviously didn't win. But we might head back next week.
All right, man. Listen, thanks for chiming in, man. You're the absolute best. And and once basketball season starts, you'll be here.
Being invited?
Yeah, no, you'll be in the hot seat.
There'll be food for you, too.
All right. All right, thanks.
See ya.
The great Robbie Berger. And that's the beauty of having this show here. Anybody coming in that we like and we think is knowledgeable,
smarter than us.
they're right here, man. Hey, listen, why don't you say a few things? I'm going to get the great Keith Kinder on the phone here, and we'll go from here.
All right, I'm going to sit there and finish up some of my scores here. 4A football. New Pal's still number 1, and they beat Kokomo last week. This week they played Decatur Central, who was really good last year. Chittard's good. They play Hanover Central. There's another game where a region team's playing an Indianapolis team. Northwood's number 4. They beat Jimtown. They play Portage. There's a small school playing a big school. New Prairie, as we said, they're number 8. They play Goshen this week. Mishawaka plays Penn. That'll be a big game around here. The 3A, the big game around here for 3A was Knox and North Judson. And that was a really good game last week. Judson beat Knox 42-21, but anticipate both those teams having a long road down the stretch. In 1A, you've got LaVille, who lost to Triton. They play North Judson, so LaVille could very easily be 0-2 here going into their conference season. So did you find Coach?
We have the great Keith Kinder on. Just does a great job at Mishawaka, man. When I got the head coaching job at Mishawaka, Keith was an assistant. Then Bart Curtis leaves. Keith gets the job, and he just coaches his brains out every week, man. Hey, congratulations on an opening win last week, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. I'll also, since you mentioned it, I'll never forget the fact that when I did get the job, you showed up at the press conference, sat, and supported me, and that meant a lot to me, and it's something I've always thought was really special. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. So those are nice comments too, man. Hey, so here it is again, man. When I was a little kid, my parents got me this game, and it said something like plug and play, and I can't remember what it was, but it was plug and play, and that's kind of your system, man. You graduate the great Brady Fisher, you lose your great running back, you lose a couple of linemen. Trey Thomas was a hell of a player, and then you bring guys in and you plug them in, and they just find success. That's really cool, man.
I appreciate it. It was an interesting first half Friday night. We've never done this before, but the 3 guys that touched the football the most were sophomores Friday night. Our center, our quarterback, and our fullback. We started 3 sophomores. So, as a result, we had some, and it's not attributed to them necessarily, but we just didn't get in a very good rhythm. We had some silly third down penalties that made the down and distance tough. We punted twice in plus territory. I don't like to punt.
Never.
Punting in plus territory is miserable. So, we were down 17-7 at half, and we just had a conversation at halftime about playing together, not worrying about what the scoreboard says, but getting back to playing our physical, tough football with fewer mistakes, and fortunately we were able to do that.
Yeah, so I think that's really cool, and the comment that you made in the paper about, hey, we didn't scream, we didn't rant and rave, we just had a conversation. We committed 2 turnovers, we had 7 penalties. Let's clean that stuff up. Let's play our football, and we'll be fine. And some coaches would have gone in and said, "Told you guys were ready. You were looking past Marion, blah blah blah." You and your coaching staff just went in and coached them up, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. And, I think that there's as well as I do, you can talk to different teams different ways. And a young, inexperienced team playing their first game and things aren't going well, I think the last thing they need is to hear negativity. They need to hear positivity, that you believe in them, and that you believe we're capable of playing better. And ultimately, it was such a weird first half. Like, I didn't think that we played poorly. We just had about a handful of silly penalties that ruined some drives for us, and just some miscues that just some unlucky stuff. So fortunately, we were able to get the ball to bounce our way a little bit more in the second half.
So you talked about a sophomore quarterback. I mean, for the last, I don't know, maybe 20 years, you had a kid named Fisher taking the snaps for the Cavemen. Now you got a very, very historic Mishawaka family, the Snyders, where you had Donovan Snyder, just a great all-around player, had a great career at Wabash. You had his little brother, Jackson Snyder, who's just a stud and will garner all-state nominations this year at linebacker. Now you got little sophomore Landon Snyder running the offense, the famed Mishawaka offense. Talk about Landon a little bit, man.
Well, first of all, one of our notes on our scouting report is we've got to convince him this week that he's not Justin Fisher, because he believes he is 6'3", 210 pounds and tries to run people over. He needs to learn to avoid some contact a little bit. But he's a steady, calm kid. Loves to compete. He's another 3-sport athlete. He just wants to play. Whenever our football season's over, he's going to go straight to the gym and start playing just like his brother. So he's done a really good job so far. I thought he played really well on our first scoring drive of the night Friday on a 3rd and 13. He hit his brother for a first down pass play, which I thought was pretty neat. So, it's kind of neat that they get to play together, here and there when Jackson comes over to the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, so the one word you just used, fearless. I think when you talk about the Snyders, man, and my wife knew Carrie at LaSalle in high school, and I think fearless is just kind of a family mantra for all those boys, man.
It really is, and they, I can't think. Even Patton, who played soccer and kicked for us, he's the oldest. I can't think of a single, let alone game, I can't think of a single practice missed by a Snyder kid. I really can't. I can't think of any time where they weren't able to practice, and they certainly have never missed a game on the football field, and I'd venture to guess that that's probably the same on the basketball court as well. These guys are tough. They love to compete. Doesn't matter what season is, they just want to play.
Caden O'Neal now steps into the backfield and takes that initial carry, rushes for 3 touchdowns. He's a sophomore. What kind of size does he have? What kind of speed does he have? And is he going to be a prototypical Mishawaka running back?
Yeah, he kind of looks like a little bowling ball. He's probably like 5'9", but he is built. He's one of our strongest guys in the weight room. And I think that when the game turned for us in the second half, it was when we decided to just feed Caden the football. We were trying to, in a first varsity game and in August heat, you're trying to not give the sophomore, a bunch of carries right away and let him ease his way into the game. And once we just kind of decided, like, all right, it's time to do it and just give him the football. He had 3 second-half touchdowns and was really, they were not able to tackle him. His touchdowns weren't runs where he was untouched. He broke tackles and, in some cases, multiple tackles and drug people into the end zone. So there's nothing better, in my opinion, than watching kids get their first varsity experience, have success, come to the sideline, and just the biggest smile on their face. And there was nobody smiling bigger than him Friday night. Yeah,
that's really cool. Y'all scored Marion 34-7, and you're kind of young or not a lot of experience in the trenches. So how did your trench guys play on Friday night?
Well, I think it went, the nice part is on Saturday when you watch the film and, you talk to your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator and they say, you know what, it wasn't that bad. We played pretty well, because typically in a first game, whether you win or not, you're gonna put the mouse down and you're gonna say, man, we were terrible. But that wasn't the case. I thought our kids played really hard. It was the most physical game we've ever had against Marion in my 7 years. It was physical on both sides. I thought both teams played extremely hard. We were just able to kind of outpossess the football in the second half and score on every possession. So up front, we played 7 different guys. We had different kind of lineup situations, and I think, for at least the next couple of weeks, we're going to continue to do that until we figure out exactly who those 5 guys need to be for every snap.
Friday night, man, it's going to be a great deal Friday night. We have Penn coming back. They're back on the schedule. They're at Mishawaka, and my partner here, the great Pat King, had to tell me
Hey,
that
Pat.
Hello, I'm here, by the way.
that they don't call it AstroTurf. I said we're playing on the AstroTurf at Mishawaka, and Pat
I
said,
don't think it's been called AstroTurf.
I told him he's showing his age, Coach.
"Jeez, man!" But that turf is beautiful. How is it practicing on it? I mean, the softness and things like that.
Well, you said it. The biggest thing for us is the opportunity to practice on it every day, just because of our limited space on what used to be our practice field behind the home stands. And, we don't have to worry about moving the ball around on the turf because we don't want to tear up the game field. So it's kind of funny. The first couple practices we had out there, we were all kind of huddled together and bunched up in groups and not using half the space because we're so used to being on smaller spaces. So it's taken some getting used to. The kids really enjoy it. I think it's going to add a little bit extra to this Friday night because it's going to be the first time that the community has seen the field. And obviously we're playing a really good opponent.
I hear coaches all talk about this all the time when they say that we play faster on the turf. Do you feel that way now with all of your practices on the turf?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I feel like in all 6+ years in this job that we have always played better on the road if we were on turf. I think especially with what we do on offense, it's just, the cuts are cleaner. You don't have to worry about where the football is. I mean, the number of times on Fridays at home or even on the road in some rough conditions where we're trying to call specific formations and specific plays because we want to stay out of the middle of the field. Those are things that don't have to be thought of on the field turf and the drainage and all that great stuff that comes with it.
Without giving away any secrets, man, you got Penn Friday night, and Penn beat Valpo 49-42. A lot of points scored, and there's a couple of kids, the Watson boys. I mean, their dad is a Hall of Famer at Mishawaka. Great athlete, great high school basketball coach. And I'm sitting here with Pat, and I'm saying, why ain't them Watson boys suiting up in maroon and white, man? Come on, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can tell you that after watching a few minutes of Penn on Sunday morning, I had the same thought. They are tremendous athletes, tremendous players, but most importantly, they're 2 young men that I've had the pleasure of being around at times because of my relationship with Ryan, and you couldn't ask for 2 nicer kids. They are great young men. They represent Penn really well. And aside from the fact that we got to play them and try to figure out how to beat them this weekend, I was really excited for them and really happy to see their success on Friday.
Yeah, Kellen, third in the state in the 100, 4 rushing TDs, 3 passing TDs, and it's his first game at the quarterback position. Nolan McCullough was the quarterback last year. Kellen was a wideout. That's got to be a great feeling for Kellen to break in and have those kind of numbers.
Yeah, well, if you were still calling it AstroTurf, I'm not sure that you would know what like the John Madden NFL PlayStation game is. But Kellen, at least 2 of his touchdown runs looked like he was playing Madden football. Like it kind of looks like this little area where he was supposed to be running the ball wasn't really open, so he was just going to make a move, go across the field, and outrun everybody. And that's the big fear is when you're third in the 100 in Indiana. Well, there's only 2 people in Indiana high school faster than him, and they don't go to Mishawaka. So the big concern here is how do we keep him in front of us, because he's going to get yards. He's going to make some big plays. We just got to figure out a way to get him to the ground and make him snap it another time, and hopefully we can force some mistakes and get him in some bad down and distances.
I think one of the strengths of your Mishawaka defense is obviously the experience that you have maybe in the back 7, your linebackers, your corners, and I think your linebacker play will be huge in this Penn game, won't it?
It really will be, and I think one of the things that I like about our kids is we play hard and we play fast, and so there's a lot to be said about 11 guys running to the ball together, right? You don't have to be faster than the guy with the ball. You just got to take good pursuit angles, and you got to get a lot of hats to the football. And my goodness, we have kids that play hard, play at full speed, a lot of snaps. We didn't find very many loafs in our first game Friday, and that's also something that isn't typical. So we've got some experience on that side of the ball, and it's kids that understand what it takes to be successful on Friday nights. Obviously, it's a big task with the kind of firepower they have offensively, but I like our kids. I know they're going to play hard. I know that they're going to play fast. I know they ain't going to be scared or intimidated or anything like that. They're going to come ready to play on Friday.
Coach, one question I have for you, I think, is if this turns into a shootout, a game like they had with Valpo in the 40s or maybe even higher, is that something would that bother you? Is that something you think you guys can keep up with them?
Well, since I've been the head coach, we played them 3 times. Our one win and my 3 attempts was a 49-42 game in overtime. So I don't anticipate. I don't believe that if we win the game that it will be in the 40s. I think our goal offensively has to be you get the ball 5 times, we get it 5 times, and let's see who can get 1 or 2 stops. That's the goal. But that's a challenge as well because, just because, I think the misconception here is Penn gave up 42 points to Valpo. Well, Penn's defense must not be very good. Well, Valpo has a Division I wide receiver and a quarterback who was making all the throws last Friday night. That's not our style. So in a lot of ways, it's a matchup game, and the matchup and the challenge for us is we got to find ways to exploit 4 yards of play and to keep the ball for 6 and 7 minutes at a time and make it to where Penn doesn't have the fastest guy in Northern Indiana on the field as much.
Well, I think you're right because tradition shows these games in the past have always been just knock down, drag out, maybe first team to 20. And it's just been the last couple of years that these games have kind of popped into the 30s and 40s. So I'm thinking, still old skill stuff. Like you said, if you get the ball 5 times, you better make sure you score at least 3 of them. Because
right, yeah,
if you don't, then, the other team's going to have a chance to win.
Right, absolutely, and it's if, in basketball terms, in my opinion, and our staff talks about it all the time now. If you get a stop on defense, that's a turnover now. In all levels of today's football, whether it's high level college, NFL, a stop is a turnover because offenses are so hard to defend because the speed and the ability of quarterbacks anymore that can challenge you horizontally, vertically, and then with the ball in their hands, running the ball. Like our goal right now is it doesn't matter how, but if they've got it 5 times, we got to get 1 stop. If they've got it 6 times, we got to get 2 stops. And if that happens, well, then we got a chance. I'm not saying, bet on the caveman, but I'm saying that I think we got a chance if we can figure out a way to get 1 stop a half.
So I know you're not saying bet on the Caveman. I'm betting on the Caveman. I think you got a great coaching staff. You guys have been together. You trust. I mean, all of your coaches trust each other, and I think when a staff works like that, then I think there's a lot of great things happening. And here's one question. I gotta ask you this, because we talked about the punter. If you were the Bears GM, would you have drafted the punter in the 4th round?
Well, I'll tell you, after watching Hard Knocks, I say yes. And there's a lot of conversations at clinics that I go to now that say, and that punt is the most important play in football right now. I went and watched Notre Dame during spring practice, and I heard multiple coaches say this is the most important play in football, because there's no play where you can flip field position like punt, and field position matters in today's football. And I know you're a huge Bears fan, and I don't know if it's the Hard Knocks syndrome or what, but like every year I watch Hard Knocks, and whoever I watch, I feel like that team's going to win the Super Bowl, because they're so good at editing, and they're so good at building the teams up. So like, I'm all in on the Bears right now.
Hey, right on, man. I'm right, as we used to say in the 70s, right on, man. I'm right there with you. Hey, listen, congratulations on getting off to a great start. Good luck this Friday night. Keep busting those guys up. You guys do a great job, man.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, that is the great, and I don't mean a good high school football coach. I mean a great high school football coach who has a system in place, right?
Yeah.
He's got a system in place, and he executes that system, and it's not a system that a lot of schools play against. And so they may play against his flex option, maybe once or twice a year, and he perfects that style of offense. And those people got to guard that and stop that. So the great Keith Kinder, and we thank him for spending a couple of minutes. How about I do some commercials here?
Hit your commercials. That'd be great. Right? I thought it was interesting. The one thing he mentioned, Scott said, move this thing down some. You're blowing his ears off.
I can't see Scott. Tell Scott to get his butt on the air here, man.
He's traveling.
Come on, Scotty.
The one thing he mentioned, I thought that they've got to add to his coaches' meetings is, where are you going to split your groups up? Where are you going to send the wide receivers down to this corner of the end zone? Because they've got twice the space now that they used to have for the practice field. That area, I was there last week to pick up your refrigerator.
By the way,
I forgot where that's supposed to. Anyway,
what fridge?
It was being repaired. But I drove back there, and there was like 4 piles of dirt, like the height of a semi, 15, 20 feet tall, over there on the old practice field behind the home stadium. And I'm thinking, okay, I guess I'm not using this area anymore.
Well, they're going to try and level it out. Once in a while, they throw the freshmen back there. But as you well know, being involved in football, I mean, skill time, group work, having a whole field to practice on is really, really big, and it's beautiful. The color scheme is beautiful, so I can't wait. I can't wait to be out there on Friday night.
We always used to just send the linemen down into the end zone and let them have that area.
Yeah, we send the linemen in the mud. Play in the mud, boys. Hey, listen, the great Tony Letcher, Health Markets, insurance, whether you need help with your health insurance or Medicare, it's time you get the right coverage for the right price. Call Tony Letcher today at 574-307-8882 or visit his website at tletcher.com. Hahn Funeral Home, man, they're a class organization. They have great people. They're very, very, very sympathetic and very conscious about what that family is going through. It's just a traumatic time when we lose a loved one. I would feel really, really comfortable taking any of those scenarios over to Hahn Funeral Home. Pat Hahn, the owner, just does a great job. Their experienced funeral directors and staff will be there to help you every step of the way. Get a hold of Pat Hahn at Hahn Funeral Home at 505 West 8th Street in downtown Mishawaka. Give him a buzz at 574-255-1474. The Black Sedan Band. I know I have one more commercial to do on Magic Mind, but then we're gonna we're going to kick the Black Sedan Band in for a minute or so to play some tunes. But obviously, I talked about Magic Mind. I think Magic Mind is awesome, man. For focus, for clarity, for energy, for less stress. It's a vitamin for your mind. It's a nootropic, and it's really, really good for you. MagicMind.com, the Coach's Corner, 20 and get a 20% discount.
While we're at it, why don't we hit Frick's Road Team of the Week? We just got done with Coach.
It's that time, man.
It's that time. Let me see if I can find our buddy here. I know it when I need it. Let's see. That's not it.
Dang.
Oh, I'm dropping the ball. Here, Frick's Road Team of the Week. You talk about who our Frick's Road Team of the Week is. And
obviously, our Frick's Road Team of the Week has to be
a high school team.
The Mishawaka Cavemen is here. There it is.
But Frick's Road Team of the Week.
Our Road Team of the Week has to be Mishawaka, going over to Mishawaka Marion. Mishawaka Marion gets the jump on them, 17-7 in the first half. Mishawaka Marion feeling probably pretty good in that locker room at halftime. Keith Kinder and his guys just coaching his guys up. They roll them 34-7 in the second half and end up winning that game 42-24.
It's a good first game.
No, I'm sorry. Do the math, Ronnie.
42-17.
41-24.
Okay.
41-24.
Well, you want to get hold of Darren? I'm going to talk about WNBA for just a second while you're doing that.
We are going to get the great Darren Pritchard. We're going to talk some Notre Dame football, and obviously in this area, you have to. I mean, you know what's going on Saturday night, 7:30 in College Station, where the Fighting Irish take on Texas A&M. Let's get the great Darren Pritchard on. But we had college football starting last Saturday.
Yep.
With Florida State. Number 10 in the country, 13-1 last year.
They were a 16-point favorite over
at Georgia
Tech.
Georgia Tech was 7-6 last year. Georgia Tech kicks a field goal late and stuns Florida State 24-21.
Yeah, last play of the game. Play of the game.
Yeah,
sure was.
No. I mean, what a way to get college football rolling. I'm going to get Darren on. You talk some WNBA, man.
So I was just going to mention that with the WNBA.
Hey, does Georgia Tech count as a road team of the week?
The game was at Georgia Tech, I believe.
No, it was in Dublin.
Oh, that's right. It was in Dublin. It was in Dublin, Ireland.
So did both teams get to be the road team?
They could be.
Yeah, but I mean, we historically like to do that with high school games, don't we? Or unless the Bears are on the road and the Bears play a good game.
Or unless Purdue's on the road.
Yeah. We got you on the road? You trying to get home?
I just got in my car.
Okay, great. Well, we're getting ready to talk to Darren Pritchett for a minute. We're going to talk about WNBA here for a second.
I'll leave it on my computer while I drive through.
Oh, gee. All right. Indiana Fever have a new player that I think some of you heard of named Caitlin Clark. And they're pretty good right now. I think they are 2-1 after the Olympic break, and she's putting up some huge numbers. And one of the things I was going to mention, here's a little tidbit. Tonight they play in Atlanta. And matter of fact, they start about right now. I think they've got a 7:30 game. They're on the NBA Network if you people have that on your cable. But tonight in Atlanta, if you want to go to the game in person, if you're in Atlanta, it'll cost you $295 for a ticket to see that game tonight. If you were in Phoenix, you could watch the New York Liberty play. They've got $12 tickets. And if you're in Seattle to watch Washington play the Mystics, they've got a $26 ticket. So obviously this young lady's bringing in lots of people, and a huge crowd obviously anticipated in Atlanta. The Indiana Fever are now in 7th place. They are 13-16. And they are 2 games ahead of the Chicago Sky, who are in 8th, and 8 teams will go to the playoffs here. And I believe they've got maybe 12, 13 games left. They'll play through the month of September. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into the month of September.
Caitlin Clark is a stone cold player.
Isn't she something?
She's just a stone cold player. She carries herself like it. She's a great passer. She can score it. The veterans tried to make life hard for her. We have the great Darren Pritchett online here. Darren, so what are your feelings on Caitlin Clark, Darren?
Well, first off, good to talk to you guys.
Yeah, it was nice.
She is a generational talent. I don't understand all the jealousy. It's really ridiculous for a league that's been looking for that player to really put them on the map, and she's done that. Look, they now fly. They don't have to fly commercially. They have these new TV deals, so she's a big part of it. And I guess I feel for the older players. They wish they were the ones to put them over the top, but she's doing it. She's making life better for everyone, and I think it's kind of like when Tiger Woods came to the PGA Tour. Everybody was kind of annoyed. Everybody talked about him and this and that, but you know what? He filled their wallets, and everybody understood it was the best thing for the PGA Tour. So hopefully someday the WNBA players understand what Caitlin's doing for them.
Yeah, I think that's a great comparison, Pat.
Yeah, it's very much so.
With Tiger Woods and early in Tiger's career, I'm not sure he was the cat's meow for all the older players on the tour either. But once they did find that out and understand that they were getting a lot better benefits, a lot better pots to play in. I think that that the Tiger mania took off, and I'm pretty sure that Caitlin stuff will take off too.
I hope so, and I tell you what, the PGA Tour kind of needs a Tiger right now because with all those guys going to Live Golf, ratings are way down, interest is down. It's like, let's watch the majors when everybody gets back together, the Koepkas and the Rahms. So it's a weird time right now on the PGA Tour. So we got college football now, though. That'll take care of that.
Oh, man, are you kidding me? We were just talking about it. It opened up last weekend with Florida State getting beat by Georgia Tech. That's the first big upset. There's going to be a lot of big upsets because there's a lot of parity in college football with kids leaving. But first of all, congratulations on your marriage, man. That's really cool.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that. It's been awesome the last couple of months.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
So answer this honestly. Does she still like you?
Well, I got to tell you, Coach, a really, really quick story. I'm a Cardinal fan. She's a Cub fan.
Oh, dear.
We went to Busch Stadium for a Cub-Cardinal game, and it was the game in which the Cardinals scored 2 in the 8th and rallied to win 5-4. And I had never been to Wrigley Field, so we went on a bus trip to Wrigley Field for Cardinal Cubs, and it was the day the pop-up fell in center field in the 8th inning and 2 runs scored, and the Cardinals won 5in.
Yes.
I guess she looked at me and she said, I'm never going to a Cardinal Cub game with you again. Other than that, I think I'm okay.
Hey, so in all the years, it really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is she likes you. All right? She likes you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Where's Cooper at now in school?
Cooper is at Lake Michigan College up in St. Joe, Michigan. He's going to play college baseball up there. I think he's been going for a couple of weeks. Had a scrimmage the other day. Went 1 for 3 with a double and a walk. So he's off to a great start.
Oh man, that's really cool. His senior year in high school, he gets a sectional and regional championship in basketball. Then he gets a sectional championship in baseball. That had to be a very, very special year for him, right?
Yeah, that's what he always wanted to do. I told you the story, Coach. His freshman year, I said, Mishawaka not won a basketball sectional since '86. He's like, I'm going to be a part of that change. And you know what? He got it done, even got a regional on top of it. And I know both of you guys, you adore Indiana high school basketball. To be up 9 at semi-state at halftime, I'm thinking, what in the world is going on here? Are we supposed to be here? Is this supposed to be happening to Mishawaka? It didn't end up well, but man, that was a fun ride.
Yeah, it was. It was a historical run when you look at the history of Mishawaka basketball, and you guys were a very, very big part of that. Let's talk about the Fighting Irish, man. I know if you're going to talk about Notre Dame football or Notre Dame athletics in general, that you always have a great pulse about them. What's your feel about this Fighting Irish team this year?
Well, guys, I've been doing this now 25 years, and I did something late last week I've never done before. Maybe I'm going to have egg on my face. but I picked 12-0 for the Irish this year. I've never done that before. And I just feel like the defense is going to be elite. I feel like they have the parts in place to replace some key guys from last year. So I went 12-0 because, A, I think they're going to be really, really good, and B, the schedule, to me, is one that you have a chance to run the table. Florida State is still going to be a tough challenge, even what we saw on Saturday. But I think if you get by Texas A&M, they've got a shot. Obviously, it's a huge task, and I got to be honest, having Knapp at left tackle, a true freshman, and Pendleton, who is going to be the backup center, now the starting left guard, win those jobs, it makes me a little nervous. But on the other hand, when you have a team, and I think you guys can probably talk about this in basketball, if you have a really good bench and they look really, really good against your reserve or your starters, you feel a little better about it. And Notre Dame has some awesome starters on the defensive line, so those guys were going up against elite players in practice every day. And that makes me feel better knowing if they handled Howard Cross and R.J. Oben and Riley Mills and Joshua Burnham, then they've got a shot to do it against anybody. Now, A&M has 2 NFL-type defensive ends that can get to the quarterback, which is worrisome. But that's why you motion the tight end guys at times over to that left tackle spot to help maybe a guy like Anthony Knapp out. So I think sky's the limit. I think they're in the playoff. 12-0 is probably unrealistic. It's hard to go undefeated, but I went there, and I just hope they go 11-1 so there's no drama on Selection Sunday.
Last tackle to start as a freshman, right? Joe Alt, right?
Yeah, he started at midseason, so pretty big shoes to fill. But Marcus Freeman was very confident about Knapp. But what's interesting, guys, he projects to be an elite offensive guard throughout his Notre Dame career. So I have a feeling it says more about Tosh Baker not being able to handle left tackle, more so than Knapp being elite at left tackle, because I think he moves back inside eventually in his career. So it's an interesting dynamic.
I was going to ask you, because you were talking on your show earlier this afternoon that they had, 6 or 7 different linemen they've been working out and shuffling around from position to position. Was he here in the spring? What has changed from spring until here to preseason practices?
With Knapp?
As far as personnel on the line.
Yeah, with Jagasaw going down with that torn pectoral, that really altered everything. I mean, he was arguably on paper, people that know practice, Jagasaw was their best offensive tackle. So with Charles going down, that was a major, major loss. And then they had to decide, do you move Emil Wagner, your right tackle, over to left tackle? And they decided, rather than creating 2 problems possibly, let's keep it at 1. They felt like Wagner was best suited for right tackle, so they left him there. And then they started shuffling around personnel. Tosh Baker got the first shot. I had some people tell me that they didn't feel like he was going to end up being the starter, and they were right. And I don't think anybody, Coach, in a million years would have thought Anthony Knapp would be the starting left tackle for this football team 2 months ago. That would have been an absolute long shot, to say the least. In fact, his name really didn't come up when we were thinking about, who could go where at left tackle. His name didn't pop up, so this really came out of left field.
Yeah, but in college football and at the professional level, I mean, you made a great point. You can take a tight end, get him over there, chip that defensive end or that edge rusher a little bit, and give him some help, which I believe Notre Dame will. And then I think one of the weaknesses of a team that has a great edge rusher is just to run at him, right? I mean, great running backs, just run at him.
The things that come to mind to me, Coach, read option, slow down the progress of those defensive ends. That's something you can do with Riley Leonard. In fact, he can do as much damage as anybody, like Jeremiah Levin, Jadarian Price. You got multiple weapons in the backfield. And something Tommy Rees didn't like to call when he was the offensive coordinator that Mike Denbrock will, and that's screenplays. And if you want to slow down a pass rush, screenplays will do that. Yeah. So I think you're going to see a wide variety of Mike Denbrock play calling, because he's really good at taking something that's kind of a wart and understanding it, but then covering it up to allow you to have success on offense. And the left side of the offensive line could be great. Maybe it's average, but if it has issues, he's got some things that can help them. So I'm just excited. Mike is back. I've been a big fan of his for many years, and I would not be as excited right now if last year's offensive coordinator was this year's offensive coordinator. That change is the change of the year. With good for Coach Parker getting the Troy head coaching job, but that opened the door to bring Denbrock back. That is a big-time plus for this football team.
Darren, talk to me about the wide receiving core. I've heard a lot of different names. I really haven't heard any one person that they've talked to about being their go-to, their number one. Is that because they're so deep talent-wise, or is it just because they're so even and they don't know what to do with them yet?
Yeah, coaching, I think they're in a situation where there really isn't that alpha guy. They have a bunch of players that they're moving around trying to put themselves in the best position. I guess the great example is going into fall camp, we thought Jaden Greathouse and Jordan Faison would be the slot wide receivers. Done deal. They would split time. Well, Coach Denbrock and the position coach Mike Brown has decided to make these wide receivers more versatile, moving parts around. Greathouse and Faison have worked as outside wide receivers. In fact, it wouldn't be a shock if Faison doesn't start over Chris Mitchell, the speedster they got from Florida International. He may start or at times be on the outside. You could see Jeremiah Love, who spent part of the spring at wide receiver. He might motion out of the backfield or just line up at wide receiver. So they're really moving parts around. I don't think there may be an alpha guy at this point, Coach. The alpha might be Mitchell Evans, the tight end. He might be the most dependable target for Riley Leonard, but I think Bo Collins, the transfer from Clemson, is going to be a major plus for this football team. I was kind of like when it happened, that's a nice piece, because he wasn't really anything great at Clemson. He was good, but nothing spectacular. But I think it maybe tells more about Clemson's offense and their quarterback that he wasn't able to shine. He has looked really good, Coach, in this Irish uniform, and I think Bo Collins is going to be a big help for this football team and help this wide receiving core be more, I would say, consistent compared to last year.
Well, and there's no secret they're going to run the ball as much as they can, no matter who the wide receivers are and who the quarterback is. And a lot of that will be also how the defensive schemes that A&M throws at them. If they have two very good edge rushers, that's going to turn Riley Leonard into more of a pocket passer right off the bat, where he may be dink and dunk early in the game until things open up as the game progresses, and see what they can do to control that outside rush.
Yeah, exactly. Get the ball out of his hand quick, those quick hitters, maybe wide receiver screens, do stuff to eliminate that pass rush. They also have a great interior defensive lineman, but you got Ashton Craig, Billy Stroud, they're helping out on the inside with Pendleton. So I feel pretty good about that. But I think the first quarter is going to be fascinating just to see how Mike Denbrock handles the left side of the offensive line and maybe how much credit he gives them and allows them to do by themselves.
Well, you may see those screen passes on the left side of the line early just to slow people down, but I think you're going to see a lot of short passes early just to give everybody some confidence that they can, completions. So he may be 6 for 8 in the first quarter and only have maybe 35, 40 yards passing because they're going to be, short gains, all of them. But it's going to be, get it out of his hands early, have some success, and it'll maybe slow that pass rush down a little bit where they can go back to the running game.
And, Coach, this is not anything negative toward Sam Hartman, but the world knew he was not going to run the football on a read option. Now with Riley Leonard, that threat is there. It's going to, I think, lead to defensive coordinators thinking twice about putting 8 men in the box, because Riley Leonard can defeat that particular defense. He's got the speed and the power, and when you've got Riley Leonard holding the football in the belly of Jeremiah Love, you talk about a lethal combination. That is a double dose of trouble for the opposition. So I'm excited to see how Riley Leonard affects what defenses try to do against the Irish.
So Riley Leonard is completely healthy from the ankle issues that he had?
Yeah, he is ready to go. In fact, he was begging to be hit during fall practice, which, of course, the coaches said no to.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
He was running. He said his ankle feels stronger than it ever has because he has done so much work on it. So, Coach, no limitations. He is ready to roll.
So
I'm just wondering how much he handles the big moment, guys, because at Duke, you don't have big moments like this. This is a massive moment on the road, 100,000 fans, season opener, hot. I mean, there's a lot of challenges here, so I think it is going to be fun to see how he handles this moment.
Yeah, so a lot of people looked at that performance by Steve Angeli last year in the bowl game against Oregon State, 15 for 19, 232 yards and 3 touchdowns. And a lot of people said that's an audition for him. He's going to the portal. He's going to use that game, to get him some money and to get him in a position where he can be a QB1. So are you surprised that he stayed at Notre Dame?
Listening to him talk, I guess not. He loves this place. He wanted to be a part of this football team. He wanted to compete. He wanted to get better, and he did that. Maybe after this season, he thinks about doing something different. With Leonard leaving after this year, you've got Steve Angeli, Kenny Minchie, and C.J. Carr, who is the rising star on this football team, the true freshman that is going to be probably a handful to beat in the quarterback competition next offseason. Maybe Steve sticks around for that, and in the spring, if he sees this isn't going to work out, maybe he goes somewhere else, because I do think he can start at some level. I don't know if he's going to be at a major Power 5 program, but I think for sure he can go to a mid to bottom, I guess Power 4 conference now with the Pac-12 gone. But even in the MAC or the Sun Belt, he's definitely a starter at that level. So he's got a big decision to make, but I give him credit for sticking it out. He could have went the easy way and just left and taken a little money and be the starter somewhere, but he wants to be a part of this. He loves Notre Dame, and who knows? Guys, we know injuries happen. He might be the starting quarterback for a playoff game in December. That could happen. You never know.
That's true. Darren, I was speaking of the playoffs. You see all the different experts on TV talking about who's going to be in those 12 spots, and they automatically showed the first 4 have to be conference champions, and the one that they put in there that kind of surprises everybody was Utah. They had Utah in there as the 4 because they got them picked to win the conference out there. What is it? Is that the Pac-12 still, or is that
Big
the Mountain
12.
West, the Big 12? So
they're in the Big 12, yeah.
They've got Utah there. So I think one of them had Notre Dame as high as 6, but the one I saw, they also had them as an 8 seed as well. So, but regardless, if they're in 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, they would host first round. Is that the way it works?
That is correct, and it's really interesting for Notre Dame to send out that email to their students that they moved up the end of exams. Let's see, they were supposed to end, I think, on the 20th, and now they're going to end on the 19th. And I know Athletic Director Pete Bavacqua talked to Eric Hansen from InsideNDSports.com during the offseason that they were going to do everything they can to keep the students in town, to be there for the possibility of hosting that first-round playoff game on the 20th or the 21st. I mean, with all the changes they have made to help get kids who don't have degrees to get into Notre Dame from the portal, and now they're moving an exam schedule for football partially. Well, times have changed, guys. Did you think that would ever happen 10, 15 years ago? Not me, but they're doing whatever they can to keep those students around. So it's pretty cool to see some changes happening to give the football team as good a chance as possible to have success.
Hey, Darren, talk about the defensive side of the ball. What do you so what are your thoughts defensively for the Irish?
Well, they were number 1 in pass efficiency defense last year, and they were number 5 in the country in total defense, which is total yards per game. So that's very, very elite. You lose J.D. Bertrand and Maris Valiafau, who started, it seemed like, forever at linebacker. You lose Cam Hart at corner. And then Javonte Jean-Baptiste, who was just an amazing pickup from Ohio State. He was terrific at defensive end. They have moved on. But, guys, the reason why I feel so good about this team, they have answers in all those spots. Christian Gray, who is just a star in the making at corner, beat out Jaden Mickey for the starting corner spot to play alongside an All-American and Benjamin Morrison. So the Irish should be in great shape at corner. You look at linebacker, maybe the one thing, if you want to get nitpicky, the middle linebacker spots, guys that haven't played a whole lot. You got Drake Bowen from Andrean High School and Kingston Viliama Asa, true freshman guys, who is going to be phenomenal. In fact, he showed up on 2 different parts of the depth chart today, at Mike and at Will linebacker, so he's going to be on the field a lot. And then you take a look at the defensive line with Howard Cross and Riley Mills. Both could have went to the NFL draft. I thought if they get one back, that's awesome. They got both back, which really hit the jackpot. You're set there with really good depth, and they're hoping R.J. Oben, who came from Duke, will be the Javonte Jean-Baptiste of 2024, a guy that can play defensive end and take his play to another level. that would be a big boost for this football team. I mean, Javonte Jean-Baptiste was not on NFL draft boards anywhere, and he made himself into a prospect and got drafted. So hopefully the same thing will happen for R.J. Oben. I just think all three levels, guys, they have difference-making players, and that's what you need to be elite. I will say, if there's one thing I'd love this defense to become, and that is elite in run defense. They've been good through the years, but they've never had that run defense where you say, you know what, we're going to take this away. You're not going to be able to run it. We're going to stuff it, and we're going to force you to throw the football into our great pass defense. If they could ever get to that point, then we're talking national championships, because stopping the run is so critical in being a national champion. So if there's one thing I hope takes a step forward this year, an area that's good right now, really good run defense, but I would love to see it take that jump up to the next tier and be an elite run defense.
Kicking game sound?
Yeah, they got a kid from South Carolina, Mitch Jeter, who is well over 90% in his field goal kicks. He's got range in the 50s, so they're solid there. They got the James Rendell, the kicker from Australia. He's going to be their punter, and he hits them high and
40
long.
He's like 40 years old, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an older guy to say the least. So that Australian rules football mentality will come out in him, and they have that program in Australia that all these punters are coming from this program. So the Irish feel really good about him. I'll say this, guys. I joked with Tyler Horker from Blue and Gold Illustrated today. Remember, maybe 10, 12 years ago, the Irish had John Goodman, who I think was from Fort Wayne, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And anytime he'd go back for a punt return, fair catch, they'd fair catch every time. It was when they were going to the title game against Alabama. Fair catch every time. They didn't risk it. They became fair catch you. They have explosive playmakers in the return game. I'm not going to compare them to Rocket because that's a whole different level, but Jaden Harrison comes from Marshall, a preseason All-American, top 5 in the country in kickoff returns last year. The Irish were already good in kickoff returns. Now he takes them to another level, and it's probably going to be Greathouse or Faison returning punts. And those are two slick, slimy, speedy guys that can do some damage in the punt return game. So in a tight game like Texas A&M, special teams can make a major difference. Coaches say it all the time. You take a look how the Irish set up. They've got a good chance to be that difference-making unit in the ball game against the Aggies.
Hey, listen, Darren, man, I mean, all of this information is amazing. I mean, anybody listening to this, no, you were convincing. And even, hey,
It doesn't matter.
I mean, even if there's not a name that was even on the team, you convinced the hell out of me, and our listeners, I'm sure, are very, very happy to get the whole scoop on Notre Dame, man. And I can't wait till 7:30 Saturday night. Now, one thing I wanted to tell you, so one of my point guards, Ahmed Anderson, was a great kid, great baseball player. He just got the head baseball coaching position at Texas A&M.
Oh wow!
He's a huge Notre Dame fan. So his name's Michael Early. I got to call Mike and say, Mike, man, we're not on any podcast. We ain't on any show. Who you rooting for, man? But
hey, real quick, guys. I just want to say this real quick. There's a lot of good people out of Jude Creek, and to see that clubhouse burn down this morning was
wasn't that sad?
Devastating. So my heart goes out to all the folks involved in Jude Creek. What a wonderful golf course, and always fun to go out there. Great people. So hopefully they can get that rebuild, and we see Jude Creek to be bigger and better than ever once they get that done. So all the best to them.
Yeah, the 5 o'clock news had them talking to the owners, and they said we're going to get something set up temporary so we can get this place back open. So I think they're trying not to look at the damage too much. They're trying their best to look forward and say, okay, now what do we do?
Good.
And they want to get people back out on the course. So you may see a portable trailer out there or something, whatever, a motor home used as the office for a little bit. But I think they did save some of the golf carts somehow. So they didn't have a total loss on all the carts, but I know they lost most of them because those pictures we saw on TV show that thing it's gone. There's nothing left.
Hey, Darren, talk to me about IU versus Florida International. So what's your take on Kurt Cignetti, the new head coach at IU?
Man, I haven't followed them too close, Coach. I just know it just feels like he is full of confidence. I don't know if it's ego or arrogance, but man, he came to town saying, we're going to win and this is how I'm going to do it. And he's brought in a lot of portal guys. So as an Illinois fan, I always bank on Indiana as a possible win. So I guess that may not be the case moving forward, because it sure looks like he did a wonderful job. Was it James Madison? Is that where he came from? If I'm not
James
mistaken.
Madison.
And so
Now I heard
what
some
they
guys
did there.
I heard some guys over at Blackthorn talking about he brought half his team from James Madison with him.
Yeah.
They didn't know if that was good or not. So
No, they were pretty doggone good. They played the elite, the big boys pretty well the last couple
I know.
of years.
I agree. I agree. Hey, are you going to College Station, or you staying in town?
No, not going to College Station. Just doing the pregame show like we always do from home base. So looking forward to it. Yeah, we got 4 to 6:30 on Saturday on 96.1 FM WSBT. We shall talk it up, and I've got the Irish winning, of course, but man, this left tackle, left guard thing makes me a little nervous. But I'm going to stick with it, guys. I still think the Irish will win like 24-20, and I hope they get it done because they'll be undefeated going to Florida State if that happens. I'm pretty confident of that.
All right, hey, listen,
We'll go with it.
Hey, Darren, thanks so much for for hopping on here and talking some Notre Dame sports here. You're the best, man. You do a great job for WSBT, and I love listening to your show. Thanks for sitting with us, during that basketball season last year, and we had a blast. And good luck in your future, man. Take care of that lovely wife.
Coach Heck, anytime. Anytime, guys. I think the world of you guys. Always enjoy being on, and good luck to Coach Kinder and the Cavemen playing that first game on the turf Friday night against that other team. So go Cavemen, get it done Friday night.
Cheer for anybody Penn's playing for, right?
So that is the great Darren Pritchett. Thanks, Darren.
Thanks,
man.
Darren.
Thanks, coaches. See ya.
That is the great Darren Pritchett. He's a pro in this field.
He's got his own talk show from 5 to 7 every night, every weeknight on WSBT. So it's nice that he jumped on with us on the way home, probably.
Yeah, he's such a great researcher. Knows everything Notre Dame.
Well, that's all they talk about for 2 hours is Notre Dame football.
And he's the voice of the Irish in hockey. Mm-hmm. So we really want to thank him for coming on. Let me hit a couple sponsors here one last time. We're coming to the end here, but there's still a couple things I want to talk about. Tony Letcher, man, Health Markets, Insurance. Give Tony a call whether you need help with your health insurance or Medicare. It's time you get the right coverage for the right price. Call Tony at 574-307-8882. Tony Letcher, he is on the commercials for the Bears preseason games.
Is that right?
And you know I'm a big Bears guy, man.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I'm watching the game, and there's Tony popping up on a commercial. I'm screaming, Monica, There's
I know
Tony.
this guy, yeah.
There's Tony. Hahn Funeral Home has been with us for this is their second year. They do a great job. Called Pat Hahn and his crew at 574-255-1474, located at 505 West 8th Street, Magic Mind. For focus, for energy, for less stress. It will put you in the state of flow. And the state of flow, I will tell you, is a great state to be in. We have Frick's Driving School. They're phenomenal. We have the Black Sedan Band. I want to throw a little bit of Chicago Bears at you for the last couple minutes we have left. And so I don't know if you're like me and you watch every minute of every preseason game, or I don't even know what team do you cheer for.
No.
Do you cheer for the Colts or do you cheer for the Bears?
If I cheer for either one of them, it'd be the Colts.
Yeah,
but I haven't.
Oh yeah, no, you're an Anderson guy. Yeah, I get that.
But here's the funny thing: it doesn't make any sense because the Colts came to town when I was living in Texas.
Yeah, that's a great
so
point.
It doesn't make any difference.
That's a great point. But all of the pundits out there. So Caleb Williams is a high school All-American. He goes to Oklahoma. He takes over the reins for Lincoln Riley midway through his freshman year at Oklahoma.
Yeah, for Rattler.
Plays really, really well. He transfers to Southern Cal when Lincoln Riley goes to Southern Cal. He's got a couple things that he did that the media really, really kind of – and I'm not saying that they blew out of proportion. they said exactly what the story was. He painted his fingernails.
He's on a different channel.
Yeah, he went up in the stands. He cried with his mother after a loss. And he was vilified for a lot of that. He was portrayed as a Hollywood kid, a baby. Although he's not from Hollywood, he was born outside of Washington D.C. But in all of the stuff that I've watched and followed, because here's the deal, Pat, I have watched every play of preseason football. That's how much of a fan I am. In the springtime, I'll watch every preseason Chicago Cub game. That's how big of a fan I am. In October
Sounds like you don't
or
have
early
enough
November.
chores to do around the house.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of chores. I do my shit. I take care of my lovely wife, sweet Monica. But I watch the Bulls preseason game because
That's just what you do.
If I'm a fan, that's what I'm going to do. And I see and read and listen and hear nothing but great things from Caleb Williams' teammates, from his coaches, from his position coaches, from the people that have been out watching practice. So my question to you would be this. If any other team in the National Football League had that number one pick, they would have chosen Caleb Williams.
They would have chosen Caleb Williams. And I've read where, like in the locker room, he's talking about cleaning the locker room up. He's gotten on players that have left stuff laying around. Just little things that, don't really have any direct effect on practice, but it's
leadership.
It's some leadership about show some pride in what's going on. Exactly.
Yeah, and so I'm as excited for this college football season and professional football season as
I'm just thinking that the media had to have something to talk about. Here, Q's got a question for you. He's talking about your Bears. He says Williams is going to be okay.
All the other stuff was creating controversy where there really was none. Right, hey, Q, as we said in the 70s, and you're a throwback to the 70s, right on, man. Right on, 100% true. If we would have been old enough to go to Woodstock, you and I probably would have been to Woodstock.
Yeah, that's funny.
But right on, and Caleb Williams is doing what he's supposed to be doing now.
So the teams have to get down to their 53-man squad by the end of the day tomorrow?
By 3 o'clock. By 3 o'clock tomorrow.
So there'll be a lot of names get thrown around, and then all the experts be thinking that, such and such a team's an idiot. Why'd they cut this guy? Why'd they cut that guy? Why'd they put him on waivers? And then the next day they'll get picked up by somebody else, and then somebody else will get picked up. So the reason I don't watch those games is because as well as I do here in the last 2 or 3 years, the ones play against the ones. The teams who'd the Bears play this last week?
The Bears played.
See, I don't even pay. I know the Colts played the Bengals, and they went down on Tuesday and Wednesday. They go down to Cincinnati and they practice against each other. So then on game day, you and I are paying $100 for an exhibition ticket to sit there and watch the 2s and 3s and 4s try to make the team because all the starters are in street clothes.
But that's the difference between me and you.
I don't care.
I'm watching depth pieces.
I guess the Chiefs.
I'm watching depth pieces. Okay, I want to know who my backup left tackle is, and I'm going to watch him.
And that's the reason.
I want to know how my backup quarterback is. Backup quarterback for the Bears is a kid named Tyson Bagent, who's really good.
Now, Scott,
really good.
Scott, you've been busy. But one of the articles I read today was with the Cowboys. They were talking about how their quarterback situation kind of played itself out, that they're finding out that this backup that they have for Dak Prescott might have played himself into becoming a free agent here pretty quick because they got him from the 49ers. He has been sitting there this is his second year, and he had 5 interceptions the other night in their exhibition game.
Yeah, Trey Lance did not have a very good showing.
Right.
So it may end up being Cooper Rush as the official number 2, and they may keep Trey Lance as a 3rd. But the big deal today was they finally got CeeDee Lamb a contract extension.
Yeah, I saw that, and
$133 million, man. Come on,
that's just greedy.
Yeah. They want to pay Dak $60 million a year.
I mean, who's going to
lose in the first round of the playoffs?
Well, and who's going to block for Dak with all that money committed to the wide receiver room and to Dak?
Yeah,
they signed Zach Martin to a long-term deal last year, so they at least have him for a little bit longer.
Yeah,
Notre Dame guy, Zach Martin.
Yeah, no, Bishop Chatard guy, Zach Martin.
Yeah.
And I like the Cowboys. I mean, I've always liked Jerry Jones. Jerry's is a meddling owner, but
Jerry's
he's still
a
cool.
clown.
No, he's still cool, man. He owns the club. He owns the big stadium. He's a businessman.
Yeah, he's basically a Donald Trump's little brother is what he is.
He and Steven, their only big accomplishment, they always talk about it on the radio, is, oh, we opened this great facility up here in Frisco. Look at all these people that come and hang out at Star.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, you haven't won a Super Bowl since I've been alive.
I agree. Hey,
I'm almost 30.
Speaking of football, Saturday night, probably the big game is jump back to college real quick because I'm a little more concerned about the college this weekend.
Clemson and Georgia.
Clemson and Georgia on Saturday night.
Yeah, Clemson's number 14th in the country.
And Clemson's like a 13 or Clemson's a 13-point underdog. I see Michigan State plays on Friday. TCU and Stanford. Penn State, West Virginia on Saturday. Miami.
Katy Perry in the background?
Her mute sister.
No, there's a huge game in the state of Florida.
Yeah,
Miami
you got Florida versus
Florida.
Miami. That is a 3:30 game on Saturday. We've got plenty to do this weekend if the weather changes. That's for sure.
Yeah, no. I mean, football season is here to stay. I got to repeat this. I must say this. My neighbor, Chris Potts, a big IU alumnus, former attorney in town, retired now. As I'm leaving to come to the show today, he says, "Heck, IU 8-4 with a playout with a bowl win."
Oh, if they're going to be 8-4, that means they're playing Purdue 7 times.
I'm just repeating what Chris told me. I love Chris. He's a great neighbor. He's a great 8-4 and a bowl win. So
I don't see too many
Chris,
conference wins.
God
bless them.
Chris, I got you on the show, man. Come on. Hey, this has been a great show. We thank our sponsors, Tony Letcher, Han Funeral Home, Magic Mind, the Black Sedan Band, Fricks, and anybody else we can line up moving forward. Just a great show. A lot of information. I thought Keith Kinder was really, really good talking about the Cavemen, talking about his upcoming game against Penn. Darren Pritchett is the absolute best.
Good guest tonight.
And there is some tight-ass music.
Good guest tonight.
From the Black Sedan Band.
When you have Katy Perry in the background.
Oh, I know. Well, it's karaoke night here tonight, so I'm going to play this a little louder here as we finish up. So, hey.
And I just got home, so I'll end the stream.
Okay, it's on you. So, hey, YouTube, find us there. You can watch this all over again. You can watch it on broadcastsport.net, or you can Bluetooth us in the car, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you do for your Bluetooths.
Yeah, and
all your favorite listening places.
Obviously, we got to thank Dorbin's Old Town Tap. Are you kidding me?
We're getting ready to eat.
The atmosphere here.
We've got the Cubs on one TV. We've got the U.S. Open on another.
The food is great. Steve Dorbin's up top there,
getting ready to feed us.
And I'm totally excited to be here. It's kind of a hometown feel here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, good place. So come over here. It's the old Samary's over here at Walnut and Indiana Avenue, just south of the Icebox Hockey Arena. So that's where we are. Scott, thanks for hopping in here, and we will see everybody next week's Labor Day Monday. We'll be here.
All right. We'll see you guys.
There's Fly Boy.
Peace.